What's up everyone? Today I want to talk about the Trial of Chaos in Path of Exile 2. So if you've never done it, the Trial of Chaos is a wave-based trial where you have to defeat monsters, do certain challenges, and then once you get to the end, you can get your ascension. Well, you can go back there at endgame as well and do this on a harder difficulty. You can do a 10 trial run. And when you complete this 10 wave trial, the boss will drop like a key. Once you get 3 parts of this key, you can then summon the final boss, or like the secret boss at the end. This guy drops like a set of different things, one of them being one of the best jewels in the game. So I just want to do a full guide today. I want to go over some tips and tricks to make this easier, how this compares in difficulty to like the other things. So should you be doing this early end game? Is this like a very end game thing to do once you've done everything else? Kind of talk about that. And then I just want to go over the rewards and some of the things to look out for while you're going through it. Okay, so first let's go over the basics and kind of the things you need to know if you're just jumping into this. So we'll do this. Right, you unlock the Trials of Chaos in Act 3. If you go into Act 3, you get to here, you go from the Barrens, you go to the Wetlands, and it's up here. The Temple of Chaos, and it's there. That's where we're going. You unlock it again in Cruel Act 3 as well, up there as well. The Sanctum, Trial of Chaos. To get it, you need to use these things here, these weird red faces, the inscribed ultimatums, and the amount of trials is based on the level of the keystone. You can see the lower level ones here, like the level 40s have 4 trials, and then the endgame version, the level 80s, have 10 trials. So yeah, that's the kind of the final version. The 10 trial one is as hard as it gets, and at the end of the 10 trials, that's when the boss will start dropping these keystones. So that's kind of the Trials of Chaos. And as you go in, you put the keystone in, you go in, you'll do one floor, which is like one challenge, like defeat so many mobs, stay alive for so long. Once you do it, you'll get to move on to the second floor. You'll then be offered either an item. It'll either be a corrupted item, like a corrupted piece of armor, or it'll be a soul core. And you can also get these soul cores, which look like this. So these are soul cores, and they'll just be offered at the end of each wave. When you get these things as well, you can choose to leave with your rewards, or you can stay and push further. And these are the things kind of you want to start farming once you hit endgame. Some of these are pretty good. So you've got they go in your rune slots. So the way you would put the normal runes in, you would just put these over. So if I wanted to put this in, say, my hands, it would say, would you like to replace with the soul core? So you can just put them in anywhere. One of the best ones you can farm is the soul core of Citaqualotl, whatever it's called. This gives 30% increased elemental damage. So not only is this really good, I've got this in, I've got 3 of these in my quarterstaff. Not only is it really good, they do really well on the exchange. So if you were to go on the exchange and you would say, I want soul cores, this one here, I have exalted. They're 43 exalted orbs for 1 right now. So, they're pretty good. They're worth going for. Okay, so that's the Trial of Chaos. Now let's go over some tips to make this easier. I want to talk about the modifiers. So every floor you have to pick a modifier that makes the thing harder. It'll add some sort of affix to make the trial more difficult. And if you're doing 10 of these, they get significantly harder as you progress. There are some that are much easier than others. I would say from my experience doing these, the modifiers that add things that need to be avoided or add things that go off on the ground are the easiest ones to take. And the worst ones are probably the ones that are always active. So I'll explain. There's Impending Doom. This is where a circle goes on the ground and it expands out and out and out. And when it hits its full size, it will go off dealing damage. Well, 1, that damage isn't that bad. That damage really isn't as much as you might be expecting. And 2, when it expands, it leaves a massive safe spot in the middle, like the Eye of the Storm kind of thing. There's a big spot in the middle that's completely safe. So that one I always take. You could upgrade it as well if you get offered Impending Doom 2, Impending Doom 3. I always take it because it's one of the easier ones to avoid. Another similar one is called Stormcaller, and this places a rune on the ground. If you upgrade it, they get bigger. And not only are they easy to avoid, you just don't stand in them. They don't activate straight away. You can walk over this 3 times and it won't go off. And then worst case scenario, you stand in it too long, you don't see it, you walk over it, it will start doing these lightnings, and you can just walk out of the lightning. So as long as you've got lightning resistance and you've got a bit of energy shield or something, these are really nice. I take these every time, and I don't think I've ever had a hit to it that's failed my run. So yeah, I definitely go with those. Then I'd be looking for things that your build is immune to. So if you're playing like me, I'm playing a freeze build, there's one where enemies have more skill speed, things like that. Doesn't matter, I'm gonna freeze them or gonna one-hit them, so it's completely fine. So I'd always take things like that. If you're playing a minion build, something that affects your area of effect spells, you're probably not gonna worry about, so you'll take those, those modifiers. You deal less area of effect damage. Oh well, doesn't change it. And then the next thing I would do is always rank up these easy modifiers. So if you get an option to rank up, enemies have more skill speed, rank it up. If you get the option to rank up, the storm ability, rank it up because it doesn't make it any more difficult. They get bigger, but it's the same thing. So yeah, they're the tips I'd do. And then I'd always avoid things that make every enemy harder. So there's one that's like you have 10% less resistances and you have less max resistances. Never take that. You know, it's so easy to get pinged by like a burn or a, you know, something like that and just fail your run. I'd always avoid things that, you know, make the monsters inherently harder. Like bosses do more damage, just can really mess you up. Enemies have more crit, can catch you off guard if a couple of crits go off at the same time. But yeah, they're the tips. Overall, it's definitely not as RNG heavy and, you know, you can't get as caught off as the Trial of Sekhem, I'd say. Okay, so now let's talk about, you know, the secret boss, the 10th floor summonable boss. Once you finish everything and you use the keys. So the way it works is after you beat the final boss, he will drop one of these key parts, and you can go on here and you can go to fragments, and it's these three here: the Victorious Fate, the Deadly Fate, and the Cowardly Fate. Now you can farm these 10 wave, you know, Trials of Chaos and just go to the exchange and, you know, sell them. You can sell like the face for 33 exalted. You can sell the, let's have a look. You can sell the left one for 95 exalted. If you just want to earn some fairly easy, you know, exalted as you're hitting endgame, this is something you could do. Or you can get all three and you can go and fight the final boss. So to fight this next boss, you have to put the 3 keystone parts into the wall, which is like at the very end after the 10th floor boss. So, you know, once you've got to the end of everything, you've had your rewards, you know, your rewards are safe and you've done, then you go put those keystone parts in. So you can take those in with you and just keep them in your inventory before you even go into the trial. But yeah, take those with you, go in, do the 10 floors, put them in the wall, and then you'll go through to the final boss. And it's the Trialmaster. It's the guy we've been, you know, he's been following us around the whole time. And the fight itself is fairly fine. He does some reasonably slow attacks in different directions that are avoidable, and then he summons things that move in different directions that again are fairly avoidable. I don't know, maybe my build's been different, but playing it on a, you know, Ice Lightning Monk, it's completely fine. In terms of difficulty, I would say he's significantly easier than most of the endgame activities. You know, the Simulacrum, significantly easier. The Breachstone boss, probably on par with like the first one. Once you start upgrading it, much easier than an upgraded Breachstone boss. So I'd say this is probably one of the earlier things you can do at endgame to start farming, to start making some, you know, start making your way through the endgame if you try and have a little break from maps. This is something you can definitely get into. If you can, I'd say if you can do the 10 floors, you can do this final boss. Maybe other builds are different. Maybe if you're playing like a Titan and you're a bit slow and you can't get out of his attacks, this is harder. I can't speak for other builds, but I've played it on a Spark Sorcerer and I've played it on a Monk, and both of them felt fairly easy with okay gear. And then when your gear's like really good, these are really easy. So yeah, that's where I'd put it. If you've had a different experience though, do let me know. If you find this harder than, I don't know, a Simulacrum, let me know and what your build is. I am curious. I can only speak for what I've tried. So why are we fighting the Trialmaster? Why are we saving up the keystones, going in and fighting the Trialmaster? Well, there's a really good reward hidden here. A really, really good endgame reward. He drops a bunch of uniques. He drops a range of like fairly cool uniques that are, you know, specific to that boss. But the main thing we're after is these things. These things here. The Adorned Diamond. So these drop from the Trialmaster and they will have a effect. So you see here, this is an Adorned Diamond. It's got a % increased effect of Jewel Socket passive skills containing corrupt magic jewels. So the reason this is so good is because this will scale all of your other corrupted magic jewels. Now this says 17%. It's a pretty bad roll. This could be 100. This could be a really high roll. This could really, really massively affect your other jewels, which means if you have like 4 or 5 jewels equipped, you're boosting your other jewels, which is massive. Now, when it says corrupted magic jewels, what that means is if we go into our jewels here, so this is say a rare, it will do nothing to this. If you have this jewel equipped, it will do nothing. So the trick to make this work really well is to use it with, say this one. This one here is a red jewel. So this would be like a warrior jewel. And you can see here we've got totem and stun. Now, the normal thing to do, you know, the first thing you would do here is you would upgrade this to rare and you would put the extra affixes on it. Like, let's take another one. Say this one, you would, you know, normally you would take this jewel and you would go, okay, let's make it rare. And then let's put an extra affix on it. Okay, look, I've got a really cool jewel. That's what you'd normally do. But if you want to work with these jewels here, what you would do instead is keep it magic. So you need to keep it blue. So this is now yellow. You want to keep it blue and instead corrupt it. So use a Valorb and corrupt it. So you can see that corruption went quite bad. We actually lost one of our affixers. But now if you had this equipped and this equipped, this equipped in one slot would boost this in another slot. So hopefully that makes sense. If you had loads of really good corrupted jewels, I'll try and do it on another one that doesn't break. Here we go. We've got totem damage here. So if we go totem damage, and then we go increased knockback distance, and then we go Valorb. There you go. So now this is a corrupted magic jewel. If you're looking for a full totem build on like a Titan, and you have this, and then let's say you have 3 of these, and then you have this, which boosts all of them by 100%, you're getting a significantly huge amount from this one jewel to all of your others. Yeah, hopefully that helps. That's kind of the main chase item. You want to be running these. And if you do get a roll on this that's like 90% increased effect, and you want to use, you want to trade that, it's going to go for a lot of divines. So this is something pretty cool to farm if you're looking for something different to do. I wouldn't say it's the most productive thing to be doing. I still find myself in breaches because I find them to be, where I get a lot of my, that's where I seem to be getting most of my upgrades from. And I love just going and doing the breaches. I do the Trials of Sekima a lot. But if you're looking for something different, the Trials of Chaos is a fun little grind. It's definitely cool to go and fight that boss a few times. So yeah, I hope this video has helped, or this guide helped. If you weren't aware of that boss, maybe you learned something new. If you were struggling, hopefully the tips helped. If you like this style of the guide and tips, do consider subscribing to the channel. Sorry if I've been a bit quiet today. I've got a really scratchy throat, so apologies. I think I'm a little bit ill, but thank you so much for watching. If you made it to the end, thank you so much. That's it from me. Take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.